Good morning, welcome to Langton Brook. So this morning we are going to do some electrofishing work up here. So we're just kind of southeast of Leicester. This is kind of very top part of the Langton Brook. It's just inside our patch, and so this is a tributary of the River Welland. That's looking upstream. This is moving downstream, so it joins the Welland about probably 5 kilometres or so downstream, which is kind of just downstream of Market Harbour. What we're going to do is do some electrofishing work to establish what kind of fish population we've got here. So we've done quite a lot of electrofishing work on the main Welland and a bit on the Langton Brook further down. This is the first time we come to this section, so we're going to do one site upstream of this bridge, then we're going to go around to the next bridge upstream and do one site downstream of that. And the reason for that is because this area is part of a possible habitat improvement project by the Welland Rivers Trust. So hopefully we're going to meet on site with them in a little bit, have a chat with them, see what's going on, and understand what the plans are, and how they're going to work on this bit of river, and what our data can show in terms of the status of it before the works and afterwards. And the works they're planning on doing are actually quite novel, really. It's something that's not really been seen too much in our area in terms of habitat improvements. So that's the plan for today. We'll do some video as we go, and we'll keep you informed. Okay, so this is Chris French from the Welland Rivers Trust, and Chris is the project manager there. Morning, Chris.
Morning, Jake.
So,
thanks for coming down.
That's not a problem. So we've been out this morning, we do some electrofishing work, and then look at what's in here before and after you do your project. So can you give us a bit of a description of the project work you're undertaking, because it's fairly novel, isn't it, this stuff you're talking about?
Yeah, it's kind of radical, really, when you think of river restoration. But what we're planning here is something called a stage 0 project. So this is kind of a new approach to restoring the natural processes in a river system. So up here in the headwaters of the Welland catchment, we've got a lot of really little tributaries that in a natural setting where they haven't been modified and straightened and ditched out, we'd probably have water a lot closer to the surface, we'd have permanently wet valley bottoms, and we'd have just a real nice mix of wet woodland, reed bed, pools, trickling water that would have supported a much greater range of biodiversity. So the idea here is that we're going to fill in a short section of the brook in this field, which will encourage the water to then spill back out across the flat bottom of the valley and then find its own path across the floodplain. So this will create a water environment that is suited to the amount of water that's coming down the brook for 95% of the time, rather than having it all stuck in a channel that is too deep, too wide, incredibly silty, overgrown, and as we've seen from the fish survey so far, pretty impoverished. So we're quite excited to see what we can do here. We've got a unique opportunity where we've got some landowners that are quite keen to do something different, and we've got basically the floodplain that would be re-wetted by this project uniquely in one land holding. So quite a few things line up here, hence why we're really appreciative to you, Jake, and Darren, for coming down and helping us out with this.
It sounds really good. So one thing you mentioned, Chris, was public access as well. So I mean, one thing me and Mr. Finney over there have always struggled with is taking kids to the river and getting access. How can we get kids who get to the river? And part of your scheme offers that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So we've got one piece of land further down where the public footpath already crosses. And at the moment, the Langton Brook through there is just a really straight, deep, silty ditch, completely unsafe for anybody to access. In fact, if you're walking through here, you probably wouldn't even know it was there. So the idea down at that part, where we've already got the existing public access, is to recreate the old meanders that existed in the brook, sort of according to a map that we found in the archives of the University of Oxford, dated to 1791, something like that, that will create a really shallow, safely accessible, and inspiring river environment for the local community here. So it really is, when you get that tie-up between restoring natural processes, creating something good for wildlife, but also having it so that people can see it and interact with it and understand it, and then go on to care about the health of rivers and the water environment, that you really get all these multiple benefits come together, and it makes this work really worthwhile. So
that all sounds really good. So yeah, that's why we're here, to provide some data for the project. So yeah, terminate over there he is. I want your clothes, your boots and your gudgeon. He's going electrofishing again, and we're going to see what we catch. Okay, so this is first downstream site we're doing, which is just kind of at the bottom end of where the habitat improvement scheme is going to take place. So yeah, we're going to walk up here now. Electrofish is only very shallow, kind of at ankle depth, and see what we catch. So yeah, Mr. Finney's going to go through the jungle and see what we get. We're expecting, I'd say maybe bird sticklebacks. Yeah, it's quite small, so it's likely to be quite kind of impoverished, and again it's been subject to a lot of habitat change, so I don't know, it's probably quite difficult to see, but basically we're in what is a dead straight channel, for a couple hundred metres now, and that wouldn't have been like that a long time ago. So yeah, that habitat change is likely to affect the fish population you get in here, and the work that Chris is doing is going to try and reverse that and improve the kind of species diversity and hopefully the fish population. So yeah, we'll do some electrofishing now and see what we catch. So these are catch results from the first section of electrofishing we've just done, which is roughly about 100 metres or so, running down there to that first bush. Yeah, fairly reduced number of species, pretty much minnows, bullheads and sticklebacks. So what we'll do is just measure a few of these now. This will give us an idea of what's in there, the present, and then what we can do is come back afterwards and yeah, look at how things have improved really. So yeah, quite a straightforward process. Stickleback, yep, stickleback, 6'6", minnow, 6'6", small stickleback, 4'8". So these are catch results from the second site we did, fairly similar to the one downstream. Again, restricted habitat and low numbers of fish. So we'll measure these off quickly and then yeah, move on to the next site. Okay, some big minnows, monster minnow. Give me the slip. It's the claw that's doing it. So that's 8'8". Again, of a minnow, 8'7". So this is the upper section, Chris, of your Habitat Improvement Project. Talk us through what's going to happen around this area.
Yeah, so we're just upstream of the area where we will ideally be filling in to encourage the water to spill back across the floodplain. So back down in this direction, it's really, really flat to the north of the Langton Brook, and all this area will be re-wetted at low flow. So we're expecting to be able to create about 2 hectares of freshwater wetland, which in this part of the catchment would be really, really unusual. So upstream from here, to achieve the infilling, we'll need to have a progressive shallowing of the bed. And in this field on the opposite side, which is also owned by the same landowner, you've got some old meanders that have been cut off by the straightening work. So all of these old features will be able to be reconnected to low flow. They do fill in the winter, but it sort of drains away quite quickly. So in terms of actual sort of river length and connected wetland area around here, we've basically got nothing at the moment, and the winds should be huge. So really exciting one to see. We'll be doing some drone flyovers just so we can get that real nice sort of visual before and after. And we'll hopefully create something that will be pretty unique, not just in this part of the world, but yeah, on a national scale too. So watch this space. Excellent
stuff. All right, so yeah, what we'll do is we'll put a third electrofishing site in just here, and then again that will give us the pre and post data of the work. So yeah, we'll get in there now and see what we catch. These are the catch results from the third electrofishing site. So about 100 metres of water. Again, quite a narrow channel. You can see it heavily overgrown behind this. Probably too deep really in terms of what it was. You can see how it's been deepened over the initial kind of river modifications. So yeah, too deep. Again, not many fish really. Very few. Just your standard kind of species up here. So bullhead is about 7'6", that one. And then we've got some sticklebacks. Stickleback. It's 5'2". I think there's a couple of tiny ones, a couple of small sticklebacks. So yeah, again, very small fish community, not very diverse and low density. So yeah, plenty of room for improvement on this with the scheme. So stickleback 4'6" and about 4'4". So yeah, we'll get them back in, and then that's that. So that's given us a good idea of what's present now. The Rivers Trust will do the work, and then we'll come back in a few years, and hopefully when we survey again we'll see the improvements that the project's done. Thank you.